Recently, to promote their newest EP, Not the Actual Events, Nine Inch Nails sent very cryptic artwork to their fans, which was covered in a mysterious black powder. So today we're going to talk about that and also 10 other facts you may not know about Nine Inch Nails. Hey friends, welcome to Eyezz. I am Jarrett New, and today we're going to discuss everything you need to know about Nine Inch Nails. We're going to talk about their long history of making great music, 10 facts about them, and of course we're also going to talk about that mysterious black powder. Also, if you guys want me to talk about any other band or artist, drop me a comment down below. Now before we dive in, I just want to give a big shout out to our sponsor for this video, Vinyl Moon. Thank you so much for sponsoring this video. And it's because of Vinyl Moon and other sponsors like them that I can keep making awesome videos for you guys on this channel. Now, you might already know about Vinyl Moon, but for those of you who don't, you can check out this video I made, which gives you a nice overview of what they're all about. But basically, they deliver awesome colored vinyl record mixtapes to your door every month. So every month, you're going to get 10 new songs, each by a different artist, on every single record release, which is really cool. And the artwork is freaking beautiful. One of my recent favorites is Volume 15, Taking Shapes, because it's on brilliant red vinyl, and of course the music is awesome. So if you guys want to check them out, I'll have the link in the video description below. Alright, now let's get back to Nine Inch Nails. So first off, what's with that weird black powder? Well, their latest EP, Not the Actual Events, was released digitally online in December of 2016. And according to their website, anyone who pre-ordered it was also going to receive some sort of physical component, which they never really quite explain. So that physical component turned out to be an assortment of very cryptic artwork covered in black powder, which gets your hands dirty when you open the package. And it even comes with a warning on the package itself. Check it out. Quote, "To be read in its entirety before opening. Actions have consequences. Not the Actual Events may contain subversive elements that produce feelings of euphoria and may be harmful and unsettling to the consumer. Likewise, this physical package may lead to unrealized expectations or unexpected results upon opening. Caution should be exercised with both. And, this is important, this will make a mess. By opening this envelope in any way, you assume all risks to your person and or property and waive any claim against the Null Corporation, which is Nine Inch Nails' independent record label, any of its subsidiaries or affiliated entities from any and all damages or harm you may incur." So a lot of people have been tweeting pictures of their dirty hands after they open these packages up. Now, in my opinion, I think the black powder is definitely non-toxic, and it's probably either graphite, like from a normal pencil, or some kind of powdered ink or toner, but either way, it's not going to kill you. So I feel like they did all this to kind of drum up a little hype for their newest EP. And I'd say their plan worked because Loudwire, Pitchfork, Billboard, Radio.com, and Uproxx all posted articles about it online. So they got free press. Now, this whole situation proves that Nine Inch Nails, as a kick-ass industrial rock band, has never been afraid to be original. And personally, the first time I heard their song Discipline, I was completely blown away. This is definitely one of the very first rock bands I ever truly fell in love with. Their music just kind of spoke to me in a way that other bands just hadn't. So needless to say, I have been a big Nine Inch Nails fan for many years. Now, Trent Reznor has been the main driving force behind the band since its inception in 1988, but there have also been about 25 other people who have collaborated with him over the years, especially during Nine Inch Nails' live performances. A few notable members have been Geordie White, aka Twiggy from Marilyn Manson, Alessandro Cortini, Ilian Rubin, Robin Fink, and more recently Atticus Ross. And so far, Nine Inch Nails has received 13 Grammy nominations with 2 Grammy wins, and Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross themselves both won an Academy Award and Golden Globe for their original score in David Fincher's movie, The Social Network, and the two were also nominated for many other awards for their soundtracks on The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo and Gone Girl. And recently, they've also collaborated on the 2016 films Before the Flood and Patriots Day with Mark Wahlberg. Now, in addition to his lengthy history with Nine Inch Nails, Trent has also collaborated with a ton of other musicians and artists, including David Bowie, Marilyn Manson, Mark Romanek, Oliver Stone, Ministry, Peter Murphy, Coil, David Lynch, Maynard James Keenan of Tool, Dave Grohl, Karen O, and a ton of other people. Also, in 2010, he formed a new band called How to Destroy Angels with his bandmate Atticus and his wife Mariqueen. So clearly, Trent and Nine Inch Nails have a very long history of making great music. So now that we're all caught up, let's finally dive into 10 facts about Nine Inch Nails. Number 10. Origins and Pretty Hate Machine. Trent Reznor was born on May 17, 1965 in Newcastle, Pennsylvania, and growing up he was very much interested in the arts and especially music. He started playing piano at age 5 and quickly excelled at it. Then during his high school years he played keyboard and sang lead vocals in a small band called Option 30. And after graduating from high school he only spent 1 year in college before dropping out and moving to Cleveland, Ohio to yet again pursue his lifelong passion for music, and Cleveland was where this all started. After collaborating with many different bands such as The Urge, The Innocent, Exotic Birds, and Slam Bamboo, he got a job working as a janitor and overall handyman at a recording studio called Right Track Studio. Now, during the nighttime when no one else was around and no one was using the equipment, Trent started recording his own music under the moniker Nine Inch Nails. Now, Trent says that he chose this name because it was easy to abbreviate, N-I-N, and he denies that there's any other deeper meaning. So what's really cool is that Trent did almost everything on these tracks himself. He was like a one-man band. He did all the keyboards, drum machines, guitars, and samplers, and then edited everything on a Macintosh Plus computer. This was 1988, so that's what he had to work with. Now, after he was all done, he had his very first album, Pretty Hate Machine, and at first, his manager and friend at the time, John Malm, started promoting his demo tape under the name Crown of Thorns. But after Trent signed with TVT Records to distribute his first album, the name was changed back to Nine Inch Nails, and Pretty Hate Machine's unique underground sound went on to become a critical and commercial success, jump-starting the musical career of Nine Inch Nails. Number 9. Le Pig and the Downward Spiral. Now, after Pretty Hate Machine, Trent wanted to find some creative inspiration for Nine Inch Nails' next releases, the Broken EP, and more importantly, the Downward Spiral. So although he was living in New Orleans at that time, he decided to rent 150 Cielo Drive in Benedict Canyon, Los Angeles, California, which is the house where the Charles Manson murders took place on August 8, 1969. And one of the main victims of that horrific night was Sharon Tate, who is a famous actress married to director Roman Polanski. Now, I won't go into the gruesome details, but I will say that Susan Atkins, one of the killers, wrote the word pig on the house's front door. Now, why is that important? Well, because 23 years later, in 1992, when Trent was renting out the house, he set up a recording studio there and he named it Le Pig, which I will admit was in very poor taste. And ironically enough, during this time, him and Brian Hugh Warner, also known as Marilyn Manson, were good friends, and Trent had even signed him to his personal record label called Nothing Records. So in addition to recording Nine Inch Nails' Broken and the Downward Spiral, the Le Pig recording studio was also used to record Marilyn Manson's debut album, Portrait of an American Family. Also, Nine Inch Nails even filmed their 1992 music video for Gave Up at the Tate House. And in addition to the property and recording studio, Marilyn Manson can also be seen on camera playing guitar and singing backup vocals. Now, think about that for a second. Marilyn Manson, who took his name from two of the most iconic figures of the 50s and 60s, Marilyn Monroe and Charles Manson, is recording in the same house where the real, actual Manson murders took place. Pretty crazy, but I digress. So anyway, one day when Trent was working on the Downward Spiral, he met Sharon Tate's sister, Patty Tate, and she asked him, quote, "Are you exploiting my sister's death by living in her house?" To which he replied, quote, "No, it's just sort of my own interest in American folklore. I'm in this place where a weird part of history occurred." And he later told Rolling Stone during an interview in 1997 that, quote, "For the first time, the whole thing kind of slapped me in the face. What if that was my sister? I don't want to be looked at as a guy who supports serial killer BS. I went home and I cried that night. It made me see that there's another side to things." So after the Downward Spiral was finished, Trent ended up moving out of the house, and in 1994 the owner demolished the house and built a new house called Villa Bella and gave it a new address at 166 Cielo Drive. Number 8. Woodstock 94. Now, although Nine Inch Nails had already released an EP, 2 albums, and had been touring on their Self-Destruct tour, a lot of people still didn't know about them. Well, that all changed on August 13th, 1994 at the Woodstock Music Festival, which was broadcast on pay-per-view to 24 million homes throughout the United States. And when Nine Inch Nails showed up on that stage drenched in mud from head to toe, they were ready to put on one hell of a show. No one had ever quite heard music like this before, and it blew people's minds. These guys, along with Marilyn Manson, essentially defined the angsty goth rock industrial music scene of the 90s generation. Although there were other bands doing industrial at that time, Nine Inch Nails made industrial cool, and their unique sound can be attributed to Trent's many influences such as David Bowie, Pink Floyd, Devo, The Cars, the Jesus and Mary Chain, Skinny Puppy, Throbbing Gristle, My Bloody Valentine, Soft Cell, Prince, Ministry, Gary Newman, The Cure, and Killing Joke. So anyways, Woodstock 94 essentially introduced the entire world to Nine Inch Nails. Number 7. Hurt. Now, a lot of people still don't know this, but that famous Johnny Cash song, Hurt, was actually not written by Johnny Cash. It was actually written by Trent Reznor for Nine Inch Nails' second album, The Downward Spiral. Although Trent published the original song in 1994, it was actually Johnny Cash's cover of the song in 2002 that became even more popular. Around that time, Johnny Cash had called Trent and asked his permission if he could cover the song on his 2003 album, American 4: The Man Comes Around. And although Trent agreed, he wasn't quite sold on the idea. But as soon as he saw the music video for it, directed by Mark Romanek, he knew the song was going to be huge because he said, quote, "I popped the video in and wow, tears welling, silence, goosebumps. Wow, I just lost my girlfriend because that song isn't mine anymore." And Trent was definitely right about that. Although he's the one who wrote it, Johnny Cash's version of it knocked it out of the park. Number 6. Controversial music videos. In 1992, the music video for the Nine Inch Nails song Happiness in Slavery was basically universally banned once it was released. And that's because it features a performance artist named Bob Flanagan who essentially gets tortured and killed by a machine that he's strapped into. Now, of course, everything in the video is fake, but it was so gruesome and disturbing that it was banned in many places. So their next music video that also stirred up some controversy was for their song Closer, and this music video was directed by Mark Romanek. Now, the video features a nightmarish, hellish world filled with many shocking images, such as a detached heart beating by itself, a monkey tied to a cross, a severed pig's head spinning on a machine, and Trent Reznor singing in front of slaughterhouse imagery. So needless to say, MTV had some reservations, and they would only air the music video after some scenes were edited or just removed entirely. Number 5. Drama with Marilyn Manson. Now, originally it was Trent Reznor who actually discovered the band Marilyn Manson, who at that time were going by Marilyn Manson and the Spooky Kids. So Trent saw their potential and he signed them onto his first record label, Nothing Records, in 1993. And then they began to tour with him during Nine Inch Nails' Self-Destruct tour in 1994. And during this time, Trent also produced Manson's first 3 releases: Portrait of an American Family, Smells Like Children, and Antichrist Superstar, which is said by many people that it's like his best album ever. So although they started off as friends in the beginning, things began to turn sour, and according to the Marilyn Manson wiki, it seems that the source of their conflict came from the fact that Marilyn Manson was originally going to do the soundtrack for the David Lynch film Lost Highway, but then, at the last moment, Trent was the one who ended up booking the job, so Manson was pretty upset about that. And over the years, they've exchanged insults and jabs at each other through the media, with Manson calling Trent jealous and bitter, and Trent calling Manson a dopey clown. So even though they've tried to reconcile their differences, like with Manson acting in and directing the Nine Inch Nails music video Starfuckers, things just haven't quite worked out. So you could say that these two have had some creative differences. Number 4, lawsuit from former manager. What is it with rock bands and lawsuits? Anyways, remember John Malm, Trent's friend and manager during his first album Pretty Hate Machine? Well, in 2004, he filed a lawsuit against Trent, claiming that he owed him $2 million in deferred commissions. And then Trent countersued him, charging Malm with fraud and breach of his contractual obligations. So long story short, after a 3-week trial, the jury ended up siding with Trent and awarded him $5 million. So you could say that justice was served. Number 3, record labels suck. Trent Reznor has never been a fan of big corporate record labels because he feels that they don't allow the artists they represent to take creative risks, and they can often get very greedy. So in 2007, speaking to a group of fans at a concert in Sydney, Australia, he encouraged them to steal his music. He said, quote, "Steal it. Steal away, steal and steal and steal some more, and give it to all your friends and keep on stealing, because one way or another, these mother effers will get it through their head that they're ripping people off, and that's not right." So because of these creative differences between Reznor and his record labels over the years, in 2008 he decided to create his very own independent record label called the Null Corporation. And this label will most likely handle all of the future releases for both Nine Inch Nails and Trent's other band, How to Destroy Angels. Number 2, Andrew Yousef. This next fact is pretty sad, but also very beautiful. 38-year-old renowned concert photographer Andrew Yousef was a devout Nine Inch Nails fan, and he attended their shows as often as he could. Now, unfortunately, in 2013, he was battling stage 4 colon cancer, and he documented his own experience in a weekly column he called Last Shot, a Concert Photographer's Battle with Cancer. Now, apparently during this time, Trent reached out to him on Twitter, and they struck up a friendship. And Trent even took him out to lunch and invited him to several Nine Inch Nails concerts. But in late October, Andrew's condition had gotten worse, and he was told by his doctor that he could only attend 2 more Nine Inch Nails shows, one on November 8th in Los Angeles, and one on November 16th in Las Vegas. Now, he made the show in LA, but he had gotten too sick to attend the one in Vegas. So, Trent actually FaceTimed him on his phone in the middle of the concert on November 16th, 2013. And what's even crazier was that I was actually at that show when this happened. It was my very first time seeing Nine Inch Nails in concert. So Trent basically asked the audience if we could all say hi to Andrew, and people in the crowd then started chanting, "Andrew, Andrew." It was really a special moment. Check it out.
Andrew, what's up, man? This is me, thought I'd say hi. What's going on? I got some friends that like to say hi to you, okay? Yeah, we can do that. Can you guys say hi to Andrew? Listen, I just want to tell you I miss you, man. I wish you were here.
So after that happened, Trent dedicated the next song, In This Twilight, to Andrew because that was his favorite song. And it was around this time that a Facebook page was set up called Nin Fans for Andrew Yousef, and fans started donating to help pay for Andrew's treatments. But unfortunately, 14 days after Trent called him during the concert, Andrew, after fighting a 3-year battle with cancer, passed away on November 30th, 2013. And after his passing, a memorial service was held for him at the observatory in Santa Ana. And even during his memorial, he wanted the lyrics from his favorite Nine Inch Nails song, In This Twilight, to be featured prominently on the left-hand side of the memorial card itself. So it's really hard not to get choked up when you hear about how these events unfolded. But essentially, Trent Reznor did a very nice thing for Andrew during his final month, and I felt that more people should definitely know about that. Number 1, Tapeworm and new projects. Now, it's no secret that a lot of people who love Nine Inch Nails also love Tool, and I know this because I am one of those people. Also, if you haven't seen my 10 Facts About Tool video, then you should definitely check that one out. Now, why am I bringing up Tool? Well, being that Maynard James Keenan of Tool and Trent Reznor of Nine Inch Nails are both super talented creative rock stars, many people have wondered why they haven't collaborated together. And the secret is that they actually have. Tapeworm was a side project of Nine Inch Nails that involved Trent Reznor, of course, Atticus Ross, Danny Lohner, and Maynard James Keenan. Now, although they had recorded and experimented with several different ideas for many years, Tapeworm had yet to publish any official releases, not an album, an EP, or even a single. And talking about the Tapeworm situation, Trent had this to say.
Maynard and I had become friends over the years, and we were trying to do this project that was Danny Lohner and Maynard, myself, and Atticus Ross as a kind of democracy, and we'd see what happens putting forces together. And as we both, Maynard and I, were fitting it in around our respective day jobs, Tool and Nine Inch Nails, there's always a pressure to try to make something that appeals to the most people. And I thought that the music we were doing under the guise of Tapeworm, and it never got that far, it just kind of felt like if you're going to combine Tool and Nine Inch Nails, it has to be 10 out of 10.
Right.
Not 7 out of 10, you know? And it felt like it was landing in the 7 range, and I kind of put a stop to it. And so there isn't really anything that's great to be mined from that. And I love Maynard, and he's a good friend, and I'm certain we're going to do something together that will be 10 out of 10.
So I don't think we're going to be hearing any official releases from Tapeworm anytime soon, although Maynard has done some covers of Tapeworm's songs, specifically the songs Vacant and Potions. So if you want to hear those, I'll have the links posted in the video description below. Now, as far as Nine Inch Nails releases go, as I said, their most recent EP is called Not the Actual Events, but they also have plans to remaster their original albums and press them on vinyl. And on their website, they call these the definitive editions. And Trent says that, quote, "We want to present the catalog as it was intended to be, with no compromises. That means a careful remastering of the audio from the original sources, a careful and painstaking recreation of the artwork, pristine materials, some surprises, and an insane attention to detail that you probably won't notice, but it matters to us." So the first 3 records, Broken, The Downward Spiral, and The Fragile, are now available for pre-order, and they'll be released sometime in spring 2017, which is now. So that's exciting. Now, what do you guys think about Nine Inch Nails? Let us all know down in the comments below, and if you love music, join the vinyl army and hit subscribe, because I'm going to be coming out with a lot of great videos every week that you're not going to want to miss. Be sure to find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and more. All my social media links are in the video description below. And most importantly, guys, have a fantastic day and keep spinning that vinyl. Nine Inch Nails is freaking awesome.